badge reader at the evidence cage logs every entry down to the second, and for 3 weeks running, it logged the same one at 1:47 a.m., a badge number that belonged to a woman who had been dead for 13 years. I want to say that scared me right away. It didn't. I've worked around clerical systems long enough to know databases hold on to garbage the way people hold on to grudges. Old employee numbers, deactivated accounts, leftover data nobody bothered to purge. That was my first thought. I just can't make it explain everything. I'd transferred to the Larrabee County Sheriff's Department that September, out of records work in Boise. Nights 10 to 6, in the annex bolted onto the back of the old courthouse.
Miss Lord.
My supervisor, Sergeant Holt, walked me through the cage my first night. Anything leaves this room even for 5 minutes gets a red tag and a carbon slip filed separate. 2 records for every item. There was a framed photo in the break room, black ribbon taped along the bottom faded to gray. Corporal Diane Voss, evidence custodian, 1968 to 2001. Holt told me a shelving rack came down on her. She'd been repositioning units alone, which she wasn't supposed to do. Anchor bolts had corroded through. That's part of why the 2-person rule exists, he said. Doesn't apply to the tagging thing, though. That's older. 4 weeks in, cross-checking red tags against carbon slips, I found a slip for a firearm pulled for a prosecutor's review. Correct case number, correct date, filed under a badge number that didn't match anyone on staff. I ran it. Badge 114 had been assigned to Diane Voss and retired with her file in 2001. I brought it to Holt. He looked at it a second too long, then shrugged it off as a leftover IT field. Priya, the swing shift clerk, didn't laugh it off either. The reader's done that since before I got here, she said. Everybody just stopped flagging it. She changed the subject to the coffee maker. I went to the county archive on a slow Tuesday, wanting a boring explanation. Diane Voss's file held the incident report, and behind it, a maintenance request she'd filed 9 days before the rack failed, flagging corrosion on the anchor bolts, never signed off. Behind that was a note complaining the badge reader logged phantom entries under her own number, dated 6 weeks before her death. 3 weeks later, clearing out Diane's old station, I found a microcassette wedged behind a box of pens. Records still had a working deck. I played it on my lunch break. Her voice, flat and businesslike. Bay 3 logged out again under my badge, 147. I wasn't back there. Told Sergeant Aldrich he says the reader glitches, going to note it every time until somebody looks at it. Then 40 seconds of hiss. I checked the maintenance file again. Sergeant Aldrich had left the department in 2003. Nobody remembered him. Holt went quiet, which for Holt is practically a monologue. Some things about that room I don't ask about anymore, he said. Long as the tags match the slips, I don't care what the reader logs at 2 in the morning. On a Thursday in late November, cold enough the heater couldn't keep pace, I finished an intake at 1:40 and walked to the cage. The reader let me in at 1:41. I logged the tag, filed the slip, was back at the desk by 1:46. At 1:47, the reader logged a second entry at the same door, badge 114. No camera on the cage itself, just the timestamp sitting in the log like it belonged there. I didn't go back to check. I told myself it was procedure. Nothing opens without a valid credential. I finished my shift, requested a transfer to days the following week. Holt approved it without asking why. The reader's clean now. I'd purged inactive credentials during a system upgrade 2 years back. Nobody's seen an entry under 114 since. I kept the microcassette. It's in a drawer at my apartment, not the annex, because leaving it there felt like leaving a question unfinished for whoever works nights next. Some Fridays, balancing my own tags against my own slips, I catch myself checking the clock a little closer around 1:45 than the job actually requires.